Um, well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to this ladies' discussion panel about Krishna consciousness. And I feel very honored to be here and to be a part of this. Little did I know that I was supposed to be here. As you can see. So this is a beautiful home comfort setting in our beautiful Seva Ashram in Soquel, California, Santa Cruz County. So I am very honored to be here with Mother Sri Leka Didi, who is a guideline for all of us in our Krishna consciousness. So I will turn the mic over to her. And but first I wanted to say a little something about the organization of this festival and festivities. And I feel that it is a very wonderful, inspiring, enlivening, nourishing gathering of devotees. And Srila Janardhan Maharaj was talking today about devotees that are in the background. And not always in the background, but a lot of the times in the foreground. And I would like to mention Braja Mohini Didi because she has been Tyagi Maharaj's right-hand man this whole trip. Right-hand woman. And she has just organized so much and prepared so much for our road trip across America, towards staying in touch and contacting all of our old contacts, phoning people, finding us places to stay, directions, organizing so much here at the temple for the festivities here at the Govinda Mela. It's just been amazing how much service she has done. I can't even begin to, want to even calculate that because, it's unlimited, the service that she has given to us. So I just wanted to tell her how much she's appreciated and how much we appreciate everything that she's done for this this temple here. And I'm sure she's tried her best and put her whole heart into it. So
Jai, Braja Mohini Didi.
Jai! Jai, Gurudev. And Sri Leka is representing our temple in Salt Lake City, and so many of the young devotees have come forward and stepped forward and are being nourished by Sri Leka there in Salt Lake City. And so we're very honored to have her here. She's a fine representative of our mission and in our Krishna consciousness. I always look up to her and call her for advice in many different circumstances within my life. So I give honor to Mother Sri Leka Didi. And Mela Didi is an inspiration to everyone. So enthusiastic in her service endeavor, in her collection, in her service to Gurudev, in her bringing people to the mission, in her Harinam Sankirtan, in her steadiness, in her everything, her chastity. It's just amazing. Her association is such an example to try to follow in her footsteps. I bow down to Mela Didi, always, and so many others.
Gurudeva's mercy, Vaishnava's mercy. Through the heart of the Vaishnavas, Krishna works his magic.
Yep, he does. Okay, and there's so many other ladies here that we have: Sushila, Vaidehi, Rai Kishori, all these beautiful ladies, so many others. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Mother Sri Leka, and she can stand. And here comes Mother Phula Mala. Today is her appearance day, and she's a disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and I'm sure we can hear from her also today. So here's I'll turn it over.
Questions for the panel. I came with questions, guys.
Okay.
All right.
So they talk about the well of material life, and I feel like I'm at the beginning of diving into that, and I'm trying to like understand how to stay inspired when I can't attend all the classes and offer service, because that was how I got so much inspiration, by offering service and doing so many things. And how do you do spiritual life? How do you stay inspired?
Yeah. You mean in household life?
Yeah.
That's a really big question for everybody. Because, there's so many other things to do, and especially when you're, and I asked the same question to Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you what his answer was. It's exactly the same question. I said, is it all right to be in household life? And you have your children, and there's so many things you have to do and take care, or should everyone just live in the temple?
Yeah.
And he said, just as a busy housewife takes the time to dress herself nicely and decorate herself. And then he could see that I was confused, because I thought, well, devotees aren't that interested in all that kind of stuff. And then he looked at me and he got a little angry and he said, it is natural. And then he looked and then he saw me again getting a little confused, and he hit the table really hard and he said, in Bengal it is said. He said, so in the same way, whatever our duty is that has come to us, we have to find that time to meditate on the Lord. We have to find that time. Just as we find the time to do something, whatever we do, we have to find the time to think of Krishna. And I have to say, in a practical level, for me, even in the temple, if I'm by myself in the temple and doing my duties, I feel, it's not the same as having everyone around and we're talking and oh yeah, and I heard this verse, and yeah, and I was thinking about that, we're going on and talking so much. It's giving us so much enlivenment, right? So I put a class on. I always do. Or I have my iPod and my thing, and just listening to divine sound coming from the Vaishnavas, especially our Guru Varga. It's very important. Divine sound is everything for us. So don't starve. And also, in terms of the children, it's very important for them as well. That's what we're living on. Otherwise, the body's going on and the self is drying up. So that's what I really feel is very important. And finding a little seva to do in the central temple. The thing about the temple is that everything you do there is for everyone. So it's so satisfying to do things in the temple. We have, maybe we have our own grihasa, our griha, our place where we have to do our jobs. But to do something in the temple is a different quality, I feel, for myself. That it nourishes the whole community. And it's giving, directly, the deities are here, and Tulsi Devi is here, and it's just to find a little bit of, some responsible seva, a little bit, something, whatever we can manage. And I know that new mothers are really busy, but I find that the kids always love to be at the temple. So those two things give a lot of nourishment to the heart, and it's important because otherwise, without hearing, we don't feel nourished. It's just normal. That's my feeling about that.
I can say a little something. A very little something.
No. Leave that one.
Okay. It's just a little something. I can say, whenever we're having a difficult time in Krishna consciousness, it's always good to associate with the devotees, come and visit with the devotees, and take shelter of Krishna. Because a lot of times in my own life, when I'm going through problems, there's an inclination to want to take shelter of the material energy. Yeah. to have an ice cream, or I'm just going to go out and, sit at the beach or watch a movie or just get my mind off of it or something. Take shelter of Krishna. Grab the beads, grab a book, grab a video, try to see something on your computer, something spiritual. Take shelter of Krishna, and it will be all right. It works. Take shelter of Krishna all the time, no matter what we're going through, and then we'll have more of a distaste for all those other things. I mean, every now and then we'll go to have see some movie or something, but it's not that you're taking shelter of that to relieve your difficulty. That's not what we should be doing. We should be taking shelter of Krishna. I mean, I could say, I'm not a pure devotee. It's not like I went to see the movie. The last movie I went to see was, I won't say, but it was a good movie. But, it was entertaining, but according to the degree of our spiritual advancement, I mean, I'm sure Vishaka hasn't went to see any movies lately. But anyway, but we should always try to take shelter of Krishna, and we'll have a reawakening. Some enlivenment will come to our heart. Can you say something?
I'd like to hear from Bradshaw Mohini today.
Okay.
We haven't heard from her at all yet.
Yeah.
All of you are way more qualified than me. There's Shwarangiriri.
I know. I know.
Maladhari, there's Sumati.
I know.
Everyone is here, way more qualified than me, so I have no right to be sitting here. So, but wasn't there a topic for this?
Sharing Krishna consciousness.
Oh.
Well, there was a question about entering into grihastha life and how to stay enlivened. This is the question on the table. Like, near. Yeah.
So just the things that came to my mind when that question came up was, like Srila Kadidi said, to have some service at the temple once a week or something that just kept me coming. And that was very helpful because the weeks go by so quickly. So every Thursday, I think it was Thursday, I would go to the temple in San Jose and cook the offering. And every Thursday I was like, wow, it's Thursday again. It went so fast. And then years go by, but at least every Thursday going, and it's like centering and very helpful to get some regular service like that. And then the association, so that's always, Gurudev always was reminding us about good association, and so, and I see also that in my daughter's life that has helped so much through so many, different phases and her growing up, that was my hope, was that, okay, the association, she's getting at least some kind of association, and we can see now that through all of you, she's getting some life and enthusiasm also for Krishna consciousness. So that was what came to my mind when I was thinking this.
Me too?
You too.
It was like you asked the question, but you could also answer the question. You're also very qualified.
I have more questions, guys, but I know there's a topic.
No, you can ask anything you want. You can ask anything.
You were living in this ashram for 10 years or something? You're so qualified.
I was suffering with not feeling so much inspiration. I was not even feeling like I want to come to the temple because I just can't sit in the class. I can't offer any service. So I was feeling like, why just go chit chat, But then so much nourishment comes from those chit chats. And also she has a natural desire and she's so happy to be here. So I start coming.
Talking about your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I come because she's so happy, and now I'm becoming happy because of that. But it was still a little bit of a rough transition because I was living in the ashram and like, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And now it's like I can't offer so much right now. She's still little, but yeah, so. Anyway, another question I wanted to ask was just like how you deal with like the question that comes up about how like women are treated. Like some people from the outside are seeing that women sit in the back and they don't lead kirtan in the front, and so many things like with this feminist question. And I think like intimately we all know that how Srila Gurudev felt about women, and that there's actually absolutely no lacking. But when people come and they see things in certain ways that women are so beautiful, and having them lead kirtan can be, so there's just different things about women. And I was just like curious how maybe you individually deal with that topic, because it comes up. I've had my own sister ask me that question when she was like leaving the mission and having some issues with feminism, and some of my friends have asked that sort of a question too, that are just come to visit, and I can say what my Gurudev said, this mission is run by powerful women and everything, but it doesn't necessarily address that specific topic. So anyway.
Who would like to take that question? Who would like to start?
She already spoke. No. Stop getting out of this.
Did you say something first?
She already did. She did.
You can all say something.
Well, it's true that most of our temples are managed by women, and take a lot of it's happy for us to take as much responsibility as we possibly can, and to I think women have a particular because of our tendencies and our own natures, that we have a particular way of nourishing that is just a little bit different. And but in terms of society, I can't even quite. I can't put my my finger on it. I think that, I can speak subjectively. That's all I can really do. Srila Prabhupada very much emphasized traditions in terms of ladies, and I had no problem with that whatsoever. I didn't mind taking any kind of backseat. In ISKCON, in the temples, we covered our heads, and I don't think I ever once looked into the eyes of a brahmachari. But that wasn't even like a problem for me. I kind of was just a normal thing for me. But now I kind of manage the temple, and it is a little bit challenging for me as a woman because my nature isn't really very. You do this and run over here and sit down and stand. It's really hard for me to do that. So I'm like, okay, like Janardama was just saying this morning, I've got this whole responsibility, and if anyone comes to help me, I'm just really grateful for that. And that's kind of how I try to do that. But I guess the problem is that I don't know really what their complaint is, sort of.
Well, I think ultimately it's associating with the bodily conception and being really proud that I'm a woman and women can do everything, and then coming with that mentality to this conception. We're not this body, right? So that's the underlying core of it. We're not this body, but
right.
They're coming with some, and maybe it is a little bit too vague of a concept to ask.
Maybe
intelligent.
I don't even. I guess I'm not really qualified to answer this question because I don't know what that means exactly. I think that everyone has got their particular nature, and everyone has a contribution according to that nature. Some people who are women are philosophically inclined, love to hear philosophy, like to explain it. It's just the nature, or has a teaching nature, or something like that. and some really don't know a whole lot about the details of Siddhanta and all that. And they're doing so much seva, and I don't really think there's a whole big difference there. Everyone's just got their own particular contribution, whether they're men or women. Some men are not very philosophical. They don't particularly want to give a class, and they don't know a whole lot about, all verses and then, evidence and how to explain Siddhanta and all these things. And they're doing so much seva. I mean, when you're looking at a whole huge overview there are differences in nature. It's some fundamental things between men and women, but I don't really think that they're significant. And I think that I remember I just have to say, one time it was coming to Mahaprabhu's water pastimes in Navadvip, where Mahaprabhu comes out on a palanquin and he sits in the boat, goes around Giriraj Mandir in Govinda. And Srila Gurudev asked me to make the arrangements. So we did the palanquin, we decorated everything, we cleaned the boat, and, we just got the whole thing together and got in. But it was kind of funny, everybody got in, and it was just amazing to be in this boat with Srila Gurudev and everything. And then we all climbed up on Giriraj Mandir for the arti. And some of the gentlemen were kind of coming in, like in the front. He said, "What are you doing? The ladies have done all the seva. Move over." And he kind of shoved them all out of the way, and we're all like, "Ooh." And we kind of, But he had so much fondness to see service. And really, what are we doing? We can preach with heart, and we can preach without heart. And we can do dishes with heart or do dishes with no heart. But Gurudev loves the heart. And Krishna loves the heart. He doesn't... What is Mahaprabhu saying to Prakasananda Saraswati Thakur after he gives full evidence that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the essence of all mantras, and and that kind of just shut everything down in one sentence, defeated everything, all the arguments, all the Vedanta, Vedanta Sutra and everything, just shut everything down there. But he said, "I'm a fool. My guru says I'm a fool." And can we say that? Are we practicing humility, or are we practicing social upliftment? It doesn't matter to Krishna. He just wants our affection. It's not important.
Yeah.
And really, if we are in a situation by the Lord's will that our sense of prestige is undergoing a little challenge, that is very auspicious for our spiritual life. So they may think, oh, this and that, and we're not getting what we need, and we're not getting what we deserve. But really, that's not our practicing life. Our practicing life is, this is good for me, my Lord. Because really, this is subjective. Subjective evolution means it's really what's inside of ourselves. And then when that's actually happening, then we have something to share with others. We're not doing something that looks like something. It has to be real. So break it. Let it
this
be
one
broken.
girl that was staying at the ashram, and she was giving me this whole thing about being a woman and being
Ostracized and so many negative things because she was a woman. And I was just listening and validating her feelings, and her heart just melted. And you're right, it's just affection. It's like, don't even waste your time addressing the issue, because it's really just a calling for love. There's some...
That's true. Yeah.
And here comes Vishaka on that issue as well.
I
That'd
was
be
just
awesome.
gonna, because you had the question kind of was like what to say to someone, because
Yeah.
it does appear that way, as trying to be thinking of how people are going to see it when you're presenting, how we're presenting ourselves, or if we're making a website or making some advertisement or something like that. And, maybe, for example, there's all the guest speakers, and there's 10 men guest speakers, and there's only one woman guest speaker. So to me, that's not bothering me, but I can see that someone else would see that and kind of think something or wonder something or want to ask or not understand. So I think it is kind of good to keep in mind how people are seeing it when we're making things and distributing and trying to make these teachings available to people that are living in the world and experiencing so many of all that stuff that's going on, But how to describe or how to say or what, I don't really know.
Because the reason she opened up to me was because they had asked me to give class that night. So she was seeing a woman give class, and she felt really inspired by that. That's all I'm saying. Sorry.
It's really nice. It's in the back of the tent. No one can hear. So if we just move the microphone.
Oh, right. Any other comment about that or concern about that?
Well, what about write the story?
Yeah, you really should say something.
You.
We're going to have all the women up here.
Okay. Very powerful sister.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just personally, I adore strong women with all of my heart. And I feel compelled by this subject, and I always think of this story from Golden Staircase with Guru Maharaj, talking about this subject. And when he was younger, and we're thinking, remember a family that's speaking Sanskrit in their family home. This type of Brahmin quality in a family, right? What kind of family? We can't even imagine how to live like that, actually, like with those types of standards. We're speaking in shloka and speaking in Sanskrit. And his auntie was actually, very wise, elevated soul. And she detected in him some misgiving when it came to women. And she caught that in him, and she corrected that. And she was saying, meditate on all of these strong women from the scriptures and start to appreciate the qualities that they're bringing. And that was a very strong moment. And I think it's in Golden Staircase where that's written, that particular lecture. And, to appreciate these different saintly women. And we can do that, we have some opportunity to appreciate them. Draupadi, we have Dhritarashtra's wife. They're taking major vows, right? Her husband is blind, and she's taking a blindfold over her eyes and never looking at anything again. What kind of sacrifice is that? And they're powerful in their own right, and some voices coming in. We know we got so much mercy from Srila Gurudev. He said it, where he said, my daughters are very good. And we felt that mercy. We felt like he was our father, and he allowed, gave us that energy to go forth, and we didn't experience maybe what other sections were experiencing so much. We didn't feel that way. It's like, he's our father, and we feel strong and,
Howard.
Yeah, so much there. So maybe it's an unconventional role, but we're in an unconventional time, we can say, right? And mercy is falling, and it doesn't care where it's falling, and we have the opportunity to chant to Mahaprabhu, and it's very wonderful. And, if we feel like this is a compelling subject, then we can meditate on these saintly women, and we can worship them, and their mercy can come to us, and the path will become revealed and will come forward if that's a subject that's really important to you. And for some people it is. And it is beautiful to see sacrifice, no matter whether it's a male or a female. Sacrifice is always beautiful. Sacrifice is always going to compel us, right? So, we can get kind of lost whether it's a male or a female, but if we really feel like it's a strong subject, then we will find there's sustenance there's help to be had, and there's mercy and grace is always going to come. So
That was just
I can give two more stories about this. Now that we're getting into it. But about Srila Gurudev again. And Srila Gurudev was saying that, well, first of all, the first time when I went to Navadvip in 1995, and after the time of Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev had his veranda, but it was very small at that time. It was just pretty much a corridor. It was just the front part of what became in Navadvip, and it was just the front strip of what later became the big veranda that Gurudev had there. And so Srila Gurudev was just sitting in a chair at the end, and then there's a bench, and then there's just the floor, and then you had to sort of work your way between who was sitting on the floor and who was sitting on the bench. But I came in and all the women were sitting on the bench and all the men were sitting on the floor. And I was really surprised, And I just said, and I sat down beside one lady, her name was Nirupama, and I said, Didi, why are all the women sitting on the bench? Because, we had this other training. And I said, why are all the women sitting on the bench and the men are on the floor? All the men. It didn't matter who they were all on the floor, and the women were all on the bench. And she said, oh, Gurudev will never tolerate disrespect to women. And that's really what she said, and that was exactly what was going on. I was really shy, because we didn't have that. But it is true. And another thing that Gurudev told a story about when he wanted to get something, he had some plan. I can't remember what the plan, maybe he never said what the plan was, but in order to execute this plan, he needed to get something out of a particular trunk. But Srila Gurudev's sister Srila Guru Maharaj's sister didn't want him to do this thing. So he came over to get something out of the trunk, and she was sitting on it. And he said, we just sat and talked. How are you? Very nice. But he couldn't, it would be disrespectful for him to say, could you stand up? I need to get something out of this trunk. So he just had to abandon it. All she had to do was sit there, and that was the end of the story. And he tells this story. So I think we sometimes get a little bit of a misunderstanding of what Vedic culture really is. There's a respect, but a different sort of kind of thing.
People have to ask his mother about taking some yams.
Mela, I know you're holding your tongue. You have so much to say, I know. Always giving so much nectar every time you open your mouth.
Yeah, Mela pass.
Well, really, I do not have anything to say. And I can testimony that because I am the least one that always don't know what to say, how to say, anything. But because it is for all of us, nourishing, and we are family, so then I feel, okay, I'm praying here. Gurudev, what do I say? Because that's my mood. I am always, I feel shy to say that, but this is family. I am always talking with Gurudeva, always. Anything that I do, be it easy, not easy, whatever. And I am always checking Gurudeva. Gurudeva, what shall we do? What would you do? How do I do this? And really, probably I shouldn't say that too, but I feel I am getting some inspiration. So that I can share, because that helps us. It's not that, oh my goodness, she's assuming all this, because I'm not assuming anything. I am really just so grateful that Gurudeva gave me seva, and he engaged me, and I know that Gurudeva rescued me from myself. And I think, well, should I say that? I don't know, it seems that people are puffed up, but I'm not puffed up, and it's not ego, but I want to have a heart. And just recently I heard one of the classes that Tyagi Maharaj gave I was serving Mahaprabhu because Kunkundidi traveled for 15 days from morning to evening. Waking up, arati, arati, then bathing, breakfast, then prepare the lunch. Oh, the garlands, then prepare the lunch, then serve Mahaprabhu and somebody that comes, and then put Mahaprabhu to rest, and then 4 o'clock, and then comes 6, and the 6 o'clock offering, and then comes evening, put Mahaprabhu to sleep and rest. So then one over this morning, I am hearing some of Tyagis Maharaj lecture. I really don't know which one was because I tried to find it wasn't. But it was something about, the heart and how, and then you can bring to the people that heart and when you distribute and I go, yeah, that's what I want. Okay, Gurudeva, that's really what I want. Really, that's what I like. Because I am thinking Gurudeva has given us so much. And it's our duty to give some to the people because we know what it is. I know what it is. When I didn't know anything about anything, I was just like, I am always remembering this. I was just like a leaf being carried by the wind in the big São Paulo, trying to find some meaning, trying to find where do I go, what do I do, what does it mean this? Lord, please help me. So in this kind of mood, I can see, it's not my mood that was suffering, but we are all suffering. We do get some relief because Gurudeva came to rescue us in all kinds of ways. It's not like one specific way. Gurudeva, he will see what's necessary and he will always adjust to our particular, whatever. And this is me. I don't know how is that it had to be adjusted for me to fit me in. But I do like to help and I do like to have the mood where I can really sacrifice. Sacrifice, whoa. It's like you have some piece of chocolate for me. I really like. So any opportunity that comes some challenge, honestly, isn't it that we shall say the truth in the family? Okay. So, it sounds so funny, because I don't even feel it's sacrifice. This last experience I had, I got sick. I don't know what happened to me. After a few days I was doing all this intensive, marathon service, I got sick. And the first thing I did when I see Mahaprabhu, I gotta do this. I cannot be sick, this is it. Nobody's available, everybody's so busy. I gotta do this. Mahaprabhu, we're gonna do this together. Really, I'm speaking Mahaprabhu on the altar. Okay, Mahaprabhu, here I am, let's do it. And I was feeling dizzy, I had stomach problem, headaches, and I just said, no matter. And sure enough, like saying this, but I did get the relief I needed to do the seva. And not only that, I did it, and then I recovered. I think sooner that probably if I was lamenting, oh my gosh, I'm so sick, what happened to me? Oh, maybe I should go to the doctor. I didn't even consider going to the doctor. And I meditate on Didi, she's a homeopathic doctor. And I'm thinking, I don't have her phone number, and I have so much to do. You know what? Okay, I'll meditate. Didi, what shall I do? Please bless me. Oh, please, Vaishnava, teach. Tell me, what shall I do? And then I had this, intuition. Oh, I'm going to drink lemon water with baking soda. And I drink lemon water with baking soda. Okay, Mahaprabhu, hold on. I want to do this. And, it helped. My stomach felt better.
I thought it was lemon water with cayenne.
I put some hot thing, but mainly it was the lemon water with the baking soda. Meaning, this is Gurudeva giving to us that we are not creating ourselves because we cannot. If we are operating in our own level, we go, oh, I'm so sick, I don't think, but with Gurudeva gives us that hankering. With that hankering, and with the blessings, we always pray to the Vaishnavas. Please help me. I don't know how to cook. I started cooking because Braja said, come, Mela, help me. And then from that to Thursday, Friday, and then became more. So I don't know. Cooking, So I was always collecting outside. But first thing I do, I pray, and then I go by Mahaprabhu's feet and I say, oh, all these beautiful Vaishnavas in this community, they are so expert in Soquel, in San Jose. Please bless me. Please send some inspiration that I'll know what to do. And sure enough, all of a sudden, I'm cooking this, I'm cooking that, and this preparation, and this spice, and I go, wow. And people come and, wow, this was so good. And then, yeah, the Vaishnavas helped me because I wouldn't be able to do that. But not to making it too long, because, I go on with things that doesn't matter. Only like this. Gurudeva is really extremely merciful. And Gurudeva is always with us, in the heart of everyone, in this beautiful family with one, like, ask us to do some seva, you will just jump to it. No matter I know, I don't know, you just run for it. You run for it and you'll be there, available. And that will come to you. That will come. Whatever is needed for that seva. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just do it, whatever. And, and that is what Gurudeva Mahaprabhu is getting. Not really the activity itself, which will come, okay, but that, okay, here I am, I can do it. So I don't want to talk too much because, really, I feel, my goodness, I am the least one to be here. I am a very foolish person, and I don't really know much what to do. But I do like to convey Mahaprabhu blessings to others. That I like. I couldn't do.
Vimalandini is always giving full affection and full energy and full sacrificing
Not
service to Srila Gurudev.
Jai
I think that Bimala is actually not qualified for this class because she's just not on the bodily platform. Yeah. She didn't even say anything about being a woman. She's just not thinking about it at all.
Which is enough answer that there
how we're distributing Krishna consciousness.
What's that?
Distribution. That was the topic. Was that? So she
But
was
really,
on topic.
But really, that is her mood, though. She's just a servitor. That's how she thinks of herself,
Yeah.
She's not identifying
Totally
with any designation from this world. She's she's Gurudev's servant. That is her only ego.
Totally true.
Well, just based on what I've heard from all these exalted ladies here, I'll just say that in my own life, the path I've chosen, it's usually chosen by men, so there have been times where I felt when we were in front of Gurudev, we really felt like, there was no prejudice, there was no discrimination. We just felt so accepted. We felt there was no question of any worldly, judgment or anything like that. We just felt this pure love, coming from the higher spiritual plane. But when we're dealing with the environment in the world, we don't always necessarily feel that. So there have been times when I felt discouraged and I felt I wasn't getting the same type of support that men would get, and when I was younger, because I came to live in Navadvip when I was about 20, and there were times when I felt like, oh, I wish I was a boy. It would be so much easier, But now, like in just these last few years, the way that things have developed, I feel really happy. I remember I told that to Shuddha Shava once, and he was like, Gurudev loves you just as you are. But now the way that my life is developing and more opportunity is coming, I feel really happy to be a woman because I have the opportunity to give inspiration to other ladies, that, yes, ladies can do this too, it's not that it's only men. So I feel very, whatever I have, I don't feel it's my property, I feel it's come from above, and I I don't think I'm a man, I'm a woman, but I feel happy to be in a woman body so that I can give some encouragement and some inspiration to the lady section. And I think, mostly in our temples, I do feel that there's not so much, I don't feel that there's so much discrimination between men and women. I know there's some formalities, and I know visitors can get disturbed. I've seen that before, like the men are going first in the Tulasi Parikrama. Like these little things, men and women sitting on different sides of the temple room. They can get disturbed about that kind of stuff, you know. But mostly I feel like these things are just formalities, and substantially the focus is on service, because that is the mood that Gurudev tried to instill in us. And we all saw that time and time again, Srila Gurudev gave so much praise to his lady disciples. So mostly, you know, in general, I feel in our temples that it is the focus is on the devotional mood and real qualification, not on, there's some something. But mostly, I think we're growing, I think we're learning, I think we're growing as well, and I think we can grow more. But in general, I do feel that the mood is, the focus is on quality, on devotion and substance over form. I think that's all I have to say.
And I do encourage anyone, like the subject in general, and of course any question, of course, you're really welcome. But I mean, just going to that subject again, I think that anyone who has a teaching nature should really become familiar with our Siddhanta. It is personally there is no comparison in my I guess I could say something that it's some service or there's no comparison between any other thing that I do and teaching others about Krishna consciousness philosophy. Like it is so satisfying to just learn some again, to hear these talks from Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, the other, like Tyagi Maharaj and Vishaka, like just hearing and being able to tell that to someone else is extremely satisfying. And to think, one of the wonderful things about being a devotee is that you get to associate with the best part of everyone, right? When everyone you meet, you get the best part of them. And you get to relate to that, and you get to help that with maybe some experience, whatever you know. And I think that this is just so satisfying. It's satisfying for all of us. So I would encourage everyone who has the time to just, be listening to these classes, because really they're mind-blowing and so nourishing to hear this philosophy, and to be able, and somebody coming and asking you something, and you've got this treasure chest, you're like, wow, you can just throw it out, and you've got so much to give, and people are really suffering. They're suffering their heads off. Yes, my dear. Yeah.
For so many years, and one time in Berkeley in 1975, Srila Prabhupada came, and I was there. Actually, I was 3 years old, and he gave darshan in the room that he was in, his room. And it was a large room, and it was filled with people all sitting just tight together. And I came in the room, and Srila Prabhupada said, make room, make room. He just was so concerned that I had a comfortable place to sit. So he took time out of speaking to make them move aside, to make room for me. And when I came to Krishna consciousness, I was a householder. So I didn't experience the same things as maybe the brahmacharinis did. I just never felt discriminated against myself. I felt like I had a voice and I had a position, and I didn't feel like less than. And I remember that, there were lady devotees were so close to Srila Prabhupada in the early days, the storefront in New York. They were there all the time. They were with him. They served him. They went on walks. There was just so much intimacy. And then as ISKCON got bigger and bigger, then sort of like the men stepped in to kind of make rules. And Prabhupada didn't like it. Sometimes Jamuna would come and she would be forbidden to come and see him. And he was very upset. He did not like that. But they were trying to protect Prabhupada too, as because you're not supposed to associate with women, and so there was protection there. But I just never felt, Prabhupada saw me. He looked in my eyes, he saw me, and accepted me and loved me, like I heard that Gurudev accepted people just as they were, and I felt that always from Srila Prabhupada. And I know people have different stories and different experiences, but that was mine. And I know people out there question, and it says in the scriptures sometimes, less of a brain, there's things that are there.
Women are counted as like a third. Like 1 in a third.
Yeah. And some of these things are time, place, and circumstance. Those are ancient teachings, by the way, that were translated, thousands of years old. And so I think that our line is rule breakers, right? Prabhupada, Srila Saraswati Thakur, they were rule breakers, form breakers. So riding in cars and having women so much in the forefront was different, definitely, than the tradition. And yet our line, they did it. And we are the beneficiaries of that, quite obviously. Such beneficiaries.
It's a great example of a powerful Vaishnava woman in the world.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm proud to be a devotee and a lady, and I just came from Jersey, and I met these wonderful people with tattoos of Krishna all over their body, following a teacher. And they honored me because I was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So much respect. And Krishna consciousness is being spread all over the world as we speak, and we get to share on that too and also spread it. And like you were saying, it comes from our heart. We have to be enthusiastic, catch on fire. I feel like lately after all these years, I'm finally catching on fire. So, Hare Krishna.
So we're getting the time. So this was originally about trying to spread Krishna consciousness, and we know Srila Gurudev is so merciful, and his flow of distribution is ongoing. Maybe he's not here physically, but he is giving himself fully to distribute this beautiful wealth that we've come in contact with. And I just we have something so wonderful, and we can become comfortable within this community and within all the wonderful things that Krishna consciousness has to offer, including prasadam and a wonderful place to come and visit and see our friends, and that's all wonderful, but we want to not become too comfortable. We want to remember what it's about, and it's about distribution. It's about giving to others, and like Mela said, sharing this wonderful affection and love that Gurudev had, was to distribute this life-saving grace that's coming. And we, I don't have any qualifications. If we wait for qualifications to come, we'll never be able to wait for that day. But we can try to extend something that our Gurudev has given us. We have to admit that we have received something from him, and we can give what little thing we have, even if it's a connection, even if it's an invitation, to try to extend and broaden you know, his mission and his desire that this goes to everyone. And if you have a moment, you can read his poem that he wrote. It's in the back of Revealed Truth. It's an amazing, beautiful poem, and he's just saying how he is giving. He will empty the whole world and take everyone home with him. But I just was wanting to hear from Dayavati Didi, because she isn't from Tijuana, and she's arranging so many beautiful programs there every time when Vishaka goes or Tagyamarsh goes, and she's arranging these college programs and high school programs, and hundreds of people are coming, and public programs, radio programs. And please, if you can just say something from your heart about this beautiful service that you're doing.
Thank you. As Bimala has been saying all along, it's not by ourselves, it's the mercy. Sorry, yeah. No. It's even worse. The thing is that, yeah, it's not ourselves. And if all these great women are saying, I'm not qualified, I'm the least qualified. And, you know, coming to this retreat has been like a fresh water to remind myself and that the great responsibility that we have. Yes, grace has come to us. I don't know if I'm saying this right in English, but the responsibility is to give it, first of all, to my family, my son, and then everyone who I can come in touch with, you know. And all these opportunities to be, you know, to bring Vishaka Didi and Tyagi Maharaj to schools and to all these kids, it's like I can't, we can't take credit for that. It's like grace of Gurudev and all these teachers and persons who are responsible for these places. And what else can I say? This radio program, it's like a huge opportunity to do that. And every time, actually, it's full of Krsna and Ananga Krsna, the ones that are like the main, you know, speakers, I'm sorry. But every time we're there, also it's every Thursday at 7, and later I will share the website. Every time we sit there, it's like, so just to clarify, it's not us, the ones that are coming up with these ideas. We are just sharing what our gurus and what our spiritual masters have shared with us. So, I mean, what can I say? It's mercy from all of you, and thank you for this opportunity to be here, this wonderful retreat, and to be in the company of all of you. So, I mean, yeah. Who this?
No, Mark, you have to let us keep going. Otherwise we say it's discrimination.
Down with the pressure.
No, the program is over.
Class still very late.
I had never felt that there is discrimination. Devotees are devotees, ladies, and the other devotees. There's no discrimination. We are all with Gurudev, and he loves us. He loves us all. There are certain rules that we have to follow, and that is only natural. But the rules don't mean that we are segregated. I never felt that. I never saw that. The rules, maybe it's because I'm old, but for me the rules are perfect. I like to have rules. We have sides, we have timing. This morning I was so nervous because in the kirtan I was caught up on that side and I said, oh, And then there was this one, woo! I flew to Vishaka, and she held my hand just like, okay, it's okay, you escaped. But that doesn't mean that we are segregated. That doesn't mean that we are lower. That doesn't mean that we don't have the same understanding or power, because we are disciples, the same level. They are very brilliant. Tyagi Maharaj, Janardhan Maharaj, all of them are so powerful, beautiful preachers. But ladies are so beautiful preachers too. They have the same power. They are empowered by the same Gurudev. So there's no difference. I don't see any problem there. That's my view. I don't see segregated. It's the same.
Say something about you're doing some preaching in Florida. Share something about that.
Maharaj, did you receive photos?
I did.
Okay.
This evening we'll have a discussion of...
We'll talk about the different programs. And I just feel that before I got the interview at the embassy to immigrate here, I was in India. And arrangements of Gurudev. I went for a specific program, and when I arrived, I was told, well, the program is not going on. But I said, okay, I came for 6 months, so I'm going to stay for the 6 months. And now, after that, I understand that it was needed for me to stay there the 6 months to get inspiration, to get the energy, because I was going to be away from devotees in Florida. So when I immigrated, and I found this apartment, I said, I don't need a sofa, I don't need a couch, I don't need a dining room, I don't need a TV, I need a temple. So the apartment was just like a recreation of a place to serve, of a place to preach. Dhanyavad.